be here. I'd just like to take this opportunity to, same as Tommy and myself, to thank Pamela Geller, Robert Spencer, Anders Gravers. I mean, we're talking about the most famous, biggest names in the county to have movement on the whole globe. I think we're absolutely privileged to have these people here. Can we have a round of applause for them, please? Thank you. Anders Gravers, Pamela Geller, Robert Spencer. God bless them. Firstly, on behalf of myself, Tommy, the English Defence League, and all the dignitaries here, I would like to apologise on behalf of Luton Town, England, for the Stockholm bomber. This man came to your country from my hometown, to our shame, and detonated himself in a suicide attempt to kill your citizens, to maim, to harm. He was radicalised in my hometown. The problem in my hometown is epidemic with radical Islam. He was radicalised in a mosque there. He came here to kill. It's of deep embarrassment to my country and my hometown, and we truly, truly apologise to all of Sweden for this horrific act. But the problem is, nothing has changed. In England, nothing has changed. Islamism is still being facilitated. Our politicians are still allowing them to have free rein to operate, to radicalise their youth. They're bringing out schemes like the Prevent scheme, pumping £500–600 million of taxpayers' money into these schemes for them to hand over any names of potential radicals that they think may do harm to other human beings, i.e. the Stockholm bomber. This man attended a mosque in my hometown. He was radicalised there. The local imam was speaking to him for 5 days and arguing with him. Now, this man was saying he wanted to kill people and blow himself up. Now, under the Prevent scheme, any imam or any member of the Muslim community are supposed to hand over the names of anyone they believe to be a radical extremist Muslim and is with the intention of harming other human beings. Now, this imam argued, allegedly, he says, with this guy, this Stockholm bomber, but he didn't feel the need to hand over any information or his name to the government, to the establishment, to stop him, to notify them of his intentions, of what he was thinking about doing. Now, this is unbelievable. Then he contradicted himself, and when he was asked, why didn't you hand over his details? Why didn't you put his name forward? You spent 5 days arguing with this man. His answer was, we cannot give up a brother Muslim to a non-Muslim. Now, what is the point of having a Prevent scheme where we're pumping hundreds of millions of pounds into this thing when they cannot hand over another Muslim because of, in fact, he's a Muslim to a non-Muslim? It's outrageous. But this is what they're doing. They're taking funds, they're accepting money, and they have no intentions whatsoever of integrating or working with the government, with the forces that are trying to prevent extremism and radicalisation of Muslims. Now, to be honest, from my point of view, when we first started English Defence League, myself, Tommy, some others, you know, we never dreamed that we would be sharing a platform with people like Pamela Geller, Robert Spencer, Anders Gravers. We never dreamed it. I mean, I'm still in disbelief now myself. But it's grown so much in 3 years, the growth ratio, and we've built this on shirt buttons, without funding, without finance, just because of our will and determination and our self-belief in that we will not accept Sharia. Even the very thought of Sharia, the creeping Sharia as we call it in England, even the very thought of that entering our 21st century modern day civilization is unbelievable. It's backward. These people out here that demonstrate against us, if they really knew the truth, if the whole world knew the truth about Islam and about what it wants to achieve, what its goals are, what it would do to non-believers, to non-Muslims, then Islam wouldn't have a chance. The entire globe would turn against them. We have a gay parade out here today, and God bless them. If I wasn't here, I'd probably be out there supporting them myself. But I was walking down the road here this morning and I saw a gay guy. I take it he was gay, he was on a motorbike, part of the motorbike parade, and he was flying the Palestinian flag on the back of this motorbike. And it made me think to myself, do these gay men and women understand, do they really not understand what would happen to them under Islamic law, under the Sharia? Do they not have YouTube, the internet? Do they not see men and women being hanged from cranes in Iran just because of their sexuality? These people that say they are the religion of peace, which is an absolute joke, why is everybody in the whole world terrified of the religion of peace? Why is everyone terrified? I'll tell you why. Because it's not a religion of peace. It's a religion of hatred, of dominance. They will murder. How can you even contemplate murdering a human being, taking their life away from them, taking them from all their loved ones because of their sexual orientation? It is backward, it is retarded, it is 7th century dogma, it is the Sharia. Our movement, the English Defence League, along with all the other defence leagues, the Finnish, the German, the Polish, the Australian, the American, the Germans, the Dutch, oh, sorry if I forgot any, but they're all here today, from all over the globe, and we're here for one reason, one common goal, and that's to stop the Sharia, to combat militant Islam, to protect freedom of speech, to protect democracy and our children's futures, to defend Christianity and Judaism, to defend our very way of life. Now, when we started the English Defence League, we could never have imagined or hoped or dreamed that it would become this. This is unbelievable, it's global, it's unbelievable, it's a phenomenon. If you take the 3 years that we've been going as a growth ratio, what will we achieve in 10 years? What will we achieve in 12 years, 13 years, 15 years? It will be massive, colossal. But we've done this without funding or finance. Now, if we had funding or finance, imagine what we could achieve. We could defend Christianity, Judaism, our children's futures. We could defend it, no problem whatsoever, on a much larger scale, And we could actually compete with the politicians and all the leftist apologist sellouts that our politicians are. Now, I speak about defending Christianity and Judaism because it's close to my heart, close to all your hearts. This constant attack by this Islamic freight train that is thundering across Europe, across the Middle East, across America, Australia, into the UK, it has to be stopped, it has to be derailed. The only way that is going to be accomplished if we unite as one, all defence leagues, all anti-Islamist movements. It's the only way we are going to achieve this, is to become one, is to stand as one. Now I believe that we will do this and this will be achieved, and I believe that we will win and they will lose. These misguided fools that don't even understand why they're standing there blowing on these silly trumpets, suppressing freedom of speech. If we lose freedom of speech, we lose democracy. There's the biggest losers over there. And over there, the biggest losers. We will be able to look our children in the eyes and we will be able to say, we tried, we stood up, and we succeeded. Traitorous, ignorant people like this are sellouts. They will not be able to look themselves in the shaving mirror or their children in the eye. Now, I talk about defending Christianity and Judaism because we have to. This constant attack on Christianity, on Israel, on Judaism. Why is the whole world attacking Israel? Why is the whole world attacking Christianity? Because we're standing up for democracy. You've got Israel, a shining light of hope, for freedom, for democracy. In a land of darkness, where there is no light, where a land of horror. The prospect of Israel not being there, of not existing, is too horrible to imagine. But that is what these Islamists hope to achieve. The eradication of Israel, of Christianity, of democracy. We shall never, ever, ever allow that to happen. We will defend Israel and its right to exist and defend itself for as long as we have breath in our bodies. We shall defend Christianity, Sikhism, Buddhism, Hinduism, all religions and faiths, all colours and creeds, against these backward, retarded Sharia seekers. On that note, folks, I just want to put a big shout out to all our serving armed forces, our combined armed forces that are doing a fantastic job. The Americans, the British, the Germans, the Dutch, the French, all the armed forces that are engaged in Afghanistan and conflicts all around the globe. Let's have a massive, massive shout out to them. They are doing a fantastic job in protecting freedom of speech and democracy against these Islamist lunatics. And on a personal note, I'd just like to put a big shout out, God save our Queen. And God bless you all. You're fantastic, you're all heroes, all legends. God bless you. Many thanks.
Thank you, thank you.
Hello, infidels! How are you? My name is Michael Stürzenberger and I'm writing since 4 years for Politically Incorrect. Do you want to be politically incorrect? Yes! To be politically incorrect means to talk the truth. We talk the truth and the others are lying. We are the freedom fighters. And all the politicians, all the journalists who say Islam is a religion of peace and violence has nothing to do with Islam, they are liars. You know, this year, you know this book, the Quran, and this is the book of the Salafists, the Quran of the Salafists, and they spread it in Germany, 25 million books. They give it away for nothing. They give it every people in the streets of Germany, and they want to have in every house in Germany, they want to have the Quran. Why? Because they want to Islamize Germany and they want to Islamize Europe. Do you want to get Islamized? This is the most dangerous book of the world. We say it in Munich every Saturday. We are on the streets. And why are we on the streets? Because in Munich they want to build a center of Islam in Europe, a big mosque, and this mosque is financed from Qatar. You know, the Arabic state Qatar, they are financing Islamic terror groups like Al-Qaeda, like Taliban, like Hamas, and like the Muslim Brothers. And they want to finance a big mosque in the heart of Munich. Would you like that? No. We don't like it either. We stay every Saturday in the streets of Munich. But all the politicians in Munich, every one of them says, yes, we want the mosque. We are tolerant. You know, we want to have free religion and everything. They are crazy. They know the facts because we are spreading it every Saturday. And we make videos and we spread it per email. But they close their eyes. They close their eyes because they fear. They fear the power of the Arabic world. They fear the financial power. And they fear because they get oil from there. So everything is going wrong. They are closing their mouth and they want to have this big mosque in Munich. This should never happen. You You know, we came from Germany. We were 7 friends. We drove in a car. It were 1,800 kilometers. And I tell you one thing, every kilometer was worth to drive, because it's so good to be among you, because every one of you is a hero. And all those left extremists and those Muslims, you know, they are trying to put our voice down. And Robert Spencer said it, we will never shut up. We will always tell the truth. And we will inform all the people what's going on, definitely. And like Tommy Robinson and Kevin Collins, we are going now into political parties. I am a journalist since 25 years. I was working at a TV station, and the chief of this TV station, his name was Ralph Burkay. And he made holiday in India. It was November 2008. Do you remember what happened there in Bombay? There were 10 Muslims from Pakistan. They went to Bombay and they killed the infidels where they could find them, like it is written in this book. 170 people died, and the chief of the TV station I've been working for, he died as well. So, it's now time not only to inform people, but it's time now to go into political parties like British Freedom, and in Germany we have the party Die Freiheit, and we say Islam must be modernized. They should wipe out every sentence in this book which is legitimating violence and killing, which is oppressing women. And we as a political party Die Freiheit, we say every Islamic organization, every mosque community, they should write down, okay, we distance from all this. And if they do not, they will be forbidden. That's the political way to solve the problem of Islam. If they want to live in our countries, they have to follow our rules, our democratic rules. And we don't want Sharia. No Sharia in Europe. Not a single piece of it. I told you, we drove 1,800 kilometers. It took 2 days, and yesterday we passed Malmö. We drove to Malmö, you know maybe the part of Malmö, it's called Rosengard. Rosengard. 86% migrants, 62% living on social welfare. And we drove through Rosengard and we took pictures. We saw a lot of Muslims. And then suddenly a car crossed our way and stopped our car, and a Muslim jumped out, long beard, you know, long clothes, and he shouted, "What are you doing here? You are not allowed to photograph." Yeah, that's it. They think they are the rulers in this part of Malmö. Yeah? Like the Quran says, you are the best people, yeah? And you say what's right and what's not right. This is Islam. This is Islam in the year 2012 in Sweden. Are they Swedish? Do you want more of these cities in Sweden? Do you want it? You know, I have here a solidarity flag, Israel and Germany. And we say the Israelis are our brothers and sisters. They are fighting on the front line of jihad. They are confronted day by day with international jihad. And we have to show solidarity. And in Munich we have now 40 years of the attack of the Palestinians against the Israel sports sport people in Munich, you know, at the Olympic Games 72. 40 years now. And we make a march through Munich the 1st of September, and we will go to the streets of Munich and we say we are solidarian with the Israeli people, and this was the first Islamic attack in Germany, 1972. And we say we want to stop Islamization, we want to stop all the things that happen, and everything is written in this book here, in the Quran, the dangerous book of the world. Here, in this book, every one of you is worse than cattle, worse than animals, is standing in this book. Do you want to be worse than cattle? In this book, and this is the most dangerous verse, in my opinion, they're standing, not you have killed, but Allah has killed through your hands. It's Surah 8 verse 17. Not you have killed, but Allah has killed through your hands. That means they don't have scruple to kill. They don't have a bad conscience. They know if they kill, it is Allah who kills. This is so dangerous, and we have to get rid of it now. Thank you very much that you are here. It's not so easy to be here. There are many people around, they want to attack us. And thanks a lot to the police of Stockholm. Thank you very much. You do a very good job. You are saving free speech and you are saving freedom. And the other ones, they are extremists. Yeah, you want to have left dictatorship, and we will never allow this again. You are of the past and we are the future. And we combine a resistance of a very dark period in German history. Maybe you know the White Rose. The White Rose was fighting against the Nazis. And we reunited the White Rose a few weeks ago with the last still living member of the White Rose. And she's saying, in the year 1943 I was fighting against National Socialism, a dangerous ideology, and today I'm fighting again against the dangerous ideology, and this is Islam. Her name is Susanne Zeller-Hirzel. She's 90 years old and she is really brave. She's a hero, like everyone here, like Robert Spencer, Pamela Geller, Tommy Robinson, Kev Keller, everyone here and you. We are heroes and we will go on fighting. We will never surrender. Never surrender. Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? Today is an important test for free people. The demonstration here in Stockholm is the final test to see if there's democracy and freedom of speech in this country. Can we come with our point of view without getting harassed and attacked by violent thugs? We can see we couldn't. In a democracy, you can discuss things and see things from all kinds of perspectives, like you have to have if you want a well-functioning democracy. You need a free discussion in order to take decisions that are based on democracy. You need a free press that is not using self-censorship when it comes to emotional and so-called religious topics if you want your democracy to work. Once I met a Swedish policeman. Him and I discussed the Islamization of our countries. He felt with Denmark because he was convinced that Denmark was more Islamized than Sweden. I nearly lost my coffee cup when he said that, but I understand why he said it.
because even the Danish press is making self-censorship as well when it comes to the topic of Islam. The Danish press allows the people to bring letters to the editor where the Danish people loudly discuss Muslims and Islam. In Sweden you don't have this discussion because the self-righteous journalists call it racism if you discuss the so-called religion Islam. So that's why the policeman felt that we in Denmark were more Islamized than the Swedes, because he never hears the problems about Islam in the newspapers here in Sweden. He could see that Denmark has a huge problem with Muslims who don't want to live after the Danish rules of democracy. In this news, he will hear stories about Muslims who demand special times for Muslim women only to use the public swimming pool because Muslim women are not allowed to swim together with the men. And they, of course, get the permission by the Danish politicians. The policemen will also learn from the Danish media that Muslim men have demanded curtains in the changing rooms in the shower sections because Muslim men are not allowed to show themselves naked in front of other men. And they got their curtains. The Muslim children are not allowed to skip the shower after gym because according to Islam they should not take showers with other children. The Swedish policeman will also, to his big surprise, read that Muslims even can't be dead together with the so-called non-believers in the mortuaries in the hospital. Muslim relatives have demanded special rooms for their dead family members, and they have got it for our tax money. Everybody is obliged to take any kinds of job offered when getting social welfare in Denmark. Unemployed Muslim women are allowed to say no to certain jobs where they could get in contact with men or with pork meat. At Christmas time, big supermarkets and malls have removed the Christian Christmas decorations just because it maybe could offend the Muslims. The policeman was convinced that Denmark must be the most Islamized country in the world, and he felt very sorry for Denmark. Now it couldn't get any worse, he thought. Then he read that 99% of all poultry in Denmark is now halal slaughtered, and a fee is paid to Muslim organizations for each poultry that is slaughtered. In many big towns, institutions don't serve pork meat for the children any longer. So even though the Danish economy is largely based on pork exports, Danish children are no longer allowed to eat all the different and common pork dishes. Some of the schools in Copenhagen have recently introduced mothers-only parents-teacher meetings. The fact is that they are appeasing the Muslim men who do not allow their wives to take part in any meetings where men are present. Therefore, Danish fathers have to stay home when women-only meetings take place. Because of the cartoon crisis, journalists no longer dare to publish the Muhammad cartoon in the newspapers. Books have been rewritten because of fear of violent Muslims, and an auction house didn't want to sell a drawing made by Kurt Vestergaard because of fear from Muslim protest. The Sharia censorship is creeping in Denmark. But in Sweden the situation is much worse. There is just not any real media to inform about it, because the media in Sweden has much more self-censorship than the Danish media. It is not only that the Swedish media is practicing self-censorship and don't want to talk about the problems with Muslim immigrants and Muslim immigration to Sweden. By the self-censorship, they suppress freedom of speech, one of the most fundamental rights that is securing the democracy. Sweden is, with its self-censorship, starting to look like the cartoon with the three monkeys. Don't see, don't hear, don't talk. The picture of the three monkeys normally describes a dictatorship. I will not call the Swedish politicians and media dictators. I will just call them terrible political correct. And in the end, this behavior can end up in a dictatorship where Islam rules and where the Swedish democracy and free thinking is brought to an end. I hope this gathering will show the Swedish people that Islamization and Islam critic is not racist and not violent, and that the Swedish people will allow to discuss Islam openly without censorship. We have now put a seed of freedom in the Swedish soil today. Now it's up to you to water this seed. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to Pamela Keller. Thank you to Tommy. Thank you to Robert Spencer. Thank you to everybody who is here today.
Hello everybody, my name is Paul Weston. I'm the chairman of the British Freedom Party, and as such of course I'm also labelled a Nazi, as we all are. But the people who label us as Nazis are not Islam. The people that label us Nazis are the left wing, the hard left, the communist left. Listen to them cheering now. They are the people who in 1939 invaded Poland 2 weeks after Adolf Hitler under the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. They allied themselves, the communist left allied themselves with Adolf Hitler, and today they ally themselves with the new Nazis on the block, radical Islam. You can't tell them anything, of course. What a horrible, horrible lot they are. You know, when they talk about this, and they label us with these labels, let's look at what we are, and let's look at what Islam is. Adolf Hitler wanted to murder the Jews. Islam wants to murder the Jews. Adolf Hitler wanted to hang the homosexuals. Islam wants to hang the homosexuals. Apparently that's okay with these people over here. Adolf Hitler wanted a 1,000-year Reich. Islam already has a 1,400-year Reich, and they want to make that many thousands of years longer. Adolf Hitler thought women were fit only for the kitchen, the bedroom and the place of prayer. Islam thinks women are fit only for the bedroom, the mosque and the kitchen. Adolf Hitler was an ideological supremacist. Islam is a movement of ideological supremacy. And who do these stupid, stupid left-wing people call Nazis? What is going through their little tiny left-wing minds? Do they not realise what is going on in Europe and around the world? Are they the same people that think these wonderful liberal revolutions in the Middle East are going to bring peace and democracy? They probably do, because they're not really terribly clever. They've never read a history book. They don't read a newspaper, they live on welfare somewhere, they never wash, they only come out to annoy people like us on days like this. They might even have gone a little bit quiet.
They are Quislings!
want to talk also about not just the left, but the liberal mainstream media, who are very much against everything that we stand for, and very pro everything apparently, especially the BBC, that Islam stands for. And you can look at this with three different events. The first one was 9/11. After 9/11, which was codified in the Quran to strike terror into the hearts of the unbelievers, after they did what they had been told to do, the media said it can't possibly be anything to do with Islam because it's a religion of peace. No matter that all across the Western world Muslims were dancing in the streets and glorifying in the mass murder of thousands of innocent people. Dancing in the streets in Europe and in America. Yes. Quite astonishing. After that, of course, we had the 5th of I'm losing my track now. July 2005, public transport bombings in London. And again, the media came out and they said Islam is a religion of peace. Islam is not, and never has been, a religion of peace, no matter how many people the BBC get into their question time audience, which incidentally after 9/11 they filled it full of Muslims and reduced Philip Larder, the US ambassador, to tears. These people are the ones who are far more dangerous than Islam because they are facilitating Islam. It is the mainstream media, the liberal media and the left-wing media who are doing Islam's job for them. All they have to do is tell the truth about Islam and we would not have any more problems. But they're never going to. You know, this is a demographic war we're in now, and at the moment it's a war that we could win. But every decade this demographic is doubling. And in Britain right now we've got 3 million Muslims. In 10 years time 6 million, in 20 years time 12 million, by 2050 maybe 30-40 million. And they're very young, they're not like us aging gracefully, their demographic is young. And I say that because the important thing about the young is they are of military fighting age. And we are in a war right now today, and it's a war that we will not win in 20 or 30 years' time unless we sort it out now, today.
Yes! Yes!
I'm not going to talk for too long because I know you've all been here for hours. I'm just going to say one last thing about the defence leagues in general, which is you've all got to become politicised. Tommy Robinson and Kev Carroll and the EDL are now on board with British Freedom, which is a fantastic movement. It's now gone political. We're even standing Kev Carroll, much to the disgust of the left, as the police commissioner for Bedfordshire. So hats off to Kevin for that. It's a fantastic role that's going to be, if we can get him in. So just on a final note, we've all got to come together on this because at the moment we're disunited. Islam is united not just in our own countries, it's united under the Ummah, and it is going to get stronger and stronger. And this is quite literally, maybe not for us, or maybe not for me, I'm not that young anymore, but this century will see a fight to the death between the Christian West and Islam, and we cannot afford to lose it.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, great speech.
As much as I can. I didn't get everything, but I got your speech.
Oh, good. That's important to put it in English.
What? No, but I got Pamela Geller and I got Tommy Robinson.
Can everyone see that flag? Hello everyone, my name is Debbie Robinson and I represent the Q Society of Australia, and I'm honoured to be here today at this inaugural event to stop the Islamization of our nations. Q Society was founded in 2011 by a group of dedicated Australians concerned about the Islamization of our country. They used to meet regularly at the Q Hotel, and hence the name Q. Last year we were privileged to have Mr. Robert Spencer tour under the auspices of our society. And thank you for doing that, Mr. Spencer. A couple of years ago I was in Melbourne and I came across a street protest run by the Students for Palestine, an Australian Muslim Palestine committee. And it was to break the blockade of Gaza. My brother was with me and we met a friend on the way, and she had some little Israeli flags and she asked us to come along and support her. So we stood in view of this protest with a tiny flag of Israel this big. The effect of this flag on the crowd was instantaneous. They were smacked from our hands and trampled by an incensed group. I was approached by a plainclothes detective and he asked me to not incite the crowd. I was standing with a little plastic flag. This incident made me take a closer look at the groups involved and the motivation behind this hatred and irrational behaviour. And what I discovered shocked me. And I'm ashamed to say that until that moment I had been asleep, but I'm not asleep anymore. And the flip side of all this is that seemingly random incidents made sense, and connecting the dots within and outside of Australia became a priority. The demonising and hatred of Israel and the West, the Bali bombings, 9/11, the Beslan massacre, Madrid, Mumbai and countless other acts of terrorism had a common denominator: Islam. Australia has a population of 23 million. The Islamic community is less than 3%. 58% of this group are aged 29 years and under. We are seeing the effects of this on our society and demographics. In the 1980s, a New South Wales detective attached to the drug squad noticed a change in the type of offenders dealing drugs in Sydney. He points out in an article written for a magazine the difficulty he had dealing with a recently arrived Lebanese family. The male occupants fought with the police while the women abused, spat, hid heroin in their babies' nappies and refused to be searched by police because of religious beliefs. The whole search took 5 times longer than normal. And he remembers thinking, thank heavens I don't run into many Lebanese drug dealers. He goes on to say that Middle Eastern crime has taken less than 10 years to become dominant, and mentions numerous murders over the years. Unprovoked, fatal attacks on young Australian men for no other reason than that they are skips, the name they give to Australians.
This brings a lot. Get new members.
An ugly episode in Australian history took place in 2002. The notorious gang rapes of young Australian women, some as young as 14, named as, and I quote, sluts and Aussie pigs by the Lebanese Muslim gang rapists. These brave young women stood up in court and fought against not only intimidation from the families of the perpetrators, but a refusal to see the truth from the intelligentsia. One of the victims complained her victim impact statement had been censored of ethnic references by a prosecutor intent on a plea bargain. Another incident involved a complaint of religious vilification against the made by the Islamic Council of Victoria against two pastors. They ran a seminar to help Christians understand Islam. These pastors were charged under a Racial and Religious Tolerance Act, which became effective in 2002, and that case lasted more than 5 years. But the most disturbing episode in Australia's history took place in Cronulla in 2005, portrayed in the mainstream media as racist attacks by Australians. No mention was made of the facts that led up to it. For months, gangs of Lebanese Muslims had swarmed to Sydney's Cronulla beach, threatening to, and I quote again, to rape Aussie sluts because they were wearing bikinis. Families and older people were abused, and blatant disrespect for law and order and Australian culture prevailed. Tensions escalated following the bashings of two of our lifesavers by a Lebanese gang, and in response, 5,000 Australians turned up to reclaim the beach. But retaliation followed that evening, with more than 40 carloads of Lebanese thugs descending on nearby Maroubra. They created mayhem by smashing shop windows, car windscreens, and attacking people of Anglo appearance. One victim was stabbed in the back, and a text message circulated by this Lebanese gang read, "All Arabs unite. We will never back down. The Aussies will feel the force of the Arabs. Destroy everything at Cronulla, December the 18th. Together, exterminate the enemy at Cronulla. Send this to every lion of Lebanon." In 2009, an Islamic terrorist cell planning to attack our Holsworthy Army base in Sydney Southwest was uncovered. All of the accused attended Preston Mosque in Victoria. This mosque is notorious for Sheikh Halali, who liken scantily clad women to uncovered meat. Hizb ut-Tahrir is also active in Australia, and in 2010 they held their first big event in Lidcombe, New South Wales, themed "The Struggle for Islam in the West." It was attended by hundreds of people, and a trailer for the event portrays Muslims as victims under attack in Australia, and nothing could be further from the truth. In 2010, Mohammed Hanif, a doctor at one of our hospitals, launched defamation proceedings against the Howard government's immigration minister. Hanif was taken into custody after his mobile phone SIM card was linked to a failed terrorist attack in Britain. This year alone, thanks to our socialist Labor government, we have seen an influx of more than 6,000 boat people seeking asylum. The majority are from Afghanistan and Pakistan, and last year our detention centres had buildings destroyed by protesters lighting fires, throwing tiles, furniture and wood, and the riot squad had to be called to protect the firefighters. The events I've described are disturbing, to say the least. More disturbing is that they act as a distraction, while the real Islamists are working from within. Through our schools, universities, hospitals, food industry, banking, media, and even sporting venues. Our iconic MCG, the home of Aussie Rules football, recently agreeing to prayer rings on site. In February this year, I travelled to Queensland's Griffith University, which has its own Islamic research centre. Our then Foreign Minister Kevin Rudd invited Professor Ihsan Abboud, Secretary General of the OIC, to talk to us about overcoming Islamophobia. His feigned concern with discrimination is in stark contrast to the violent intolerance experienced by non-Muslims in Islamic countries. And just 2 months ago, Dr. Tariq Al-Suwaidan, leader of the Muslim Brotherhood in Kuwait, lectured at Monash University in Victoria. His visa was fast-tracked by our Immigration Minister, Bowen. We attended this event and were harassed, intimidated and asked to sit separately in designated men and women's area. We refused, and after quite some time we were finally left alone to sit together as a group. It would have been so much easier to comply with the request, and herein is the problem. If we are not prepared to stand up to what is encroaching and disrupting our lives, eventually we will have no lives. This was a public event at an Australian university, and the request was unacceptable. It's plain to see that Australia, with a Muslim population of less than 3%, is experiencing serious issues. We are constantly being reminded that Islam is a religion of peace and has been hijacked by those who have misinterpreted it. If we discuss or talk about the problems I have mentioned, we are labelled Islamophobes, bigots, racists, and even the Ku Klux Klan, which happened recently in Canberra to some citizens trying to oppose a mosque. And all over Australia there are mosques popping, applications everywhere. The whole country is experiencing this. But in reality, we are the ones who've been hijacked, and I believe it's our duty, once we know the truth, to fight to preserve our freedoms. Every single one of us has the power to make a difference. Pew society is filled with many like-minded people, each with his or her own story of enlightenment. Our mission through education is to wake people from their slumber. We have chapters all over Australia, and we present and address guest speakers, educational evenings, and I'm eternally grateful to the founders of this society for having the foresight to start this group. I love Australia, I love my country, and I know that everyone here has a similar passion for his or her own country. Finally, I would like to say thank you to the organisers of this historic and important event, because Islam is rising, and so must we. Thank you.
I love my country. I live in Palestina og det sånn som de holder på, så altså i Thailand... Vi er nødt til å ta arbeidet på. Du kan ikke behandle dette med silkehansker, sånn som våre politikere tror at det går seg til. Det gjør det. Det går ikke til. Og skriker vi ikke opp så. Alt i boks. Alt i boks. Du klarer det. Alt i boks. Alt i boks. Det er så bra. Du er flink til å legge ut, altså. Ja, men det skal jo bli bedre. Dette er jo de investerende bra, da. Så la oss bygge.
Jeg må ikke bare prøve det.
Ja, visst.
Hei. Det var så tøft å se deg stå ved den flagget.
Ja, er det jo?
Ja, kjempebra.
Ja, det er så artig å treffe folk som har samme syn på inngangen. Det står jo faktisk å ta ut fortsatt der, da. Jeg har tatt opp alt det.